Welcome to ConCensis, a podcast from Censis Technologies.
Welcome to another great episode of ConCensis Podcast, brought to you by Censis Technologies. Today we'll be speaking with Mark Ebenstein from Chem Medical, the platinum sponsor for CTUC Connect 2023. He'll speak to us about his role, the products offered by Chem Medical, and more today. Welcome, Mark, to our podcast. It's great to see you again.
Thank you. Good to see you again, too.
So to get started, could you give us a brief introduction and talk a little bit about your role and your background?
Sure. Once again, thank you for having me. My name is Mark Ebenstein. I am VP of Products and Services at Chem Medical Products Corp. And really, it's day to day, I'm working on the different strategies, sales cycles, product planning of the different products and services that we offer to healthcare facilities. Everything from inventory management, distribution, pricing, a little bit of everything, almost on an operational type of level, working within the company.
Very nice. Very cool. Could you tell me how you got started at Chem Medical? Like, what drew you to company? What was your reason for going to them?
It was just right place, right timing. I had always been at larger companies, very large companies, where you had a very specific role and you supported others and others supported you. Always interested in finding out more. But, in a large company, you're kind of wedged in and this is what you're providing and contributing to the team. I had been at my last company, a very large multimedia company for over 10 years. And I was just looking for something different. And a small local company was looking for someone to be heading up their products and services, but more on an operational level as well. And, have a little more control over, like I said, the whole aspects of from start to finish, from pricing, costing, inventory control, and then also interacting with our customers. So it was just the right time for me. And it was also company was looking for someone, and it kind of was just a good fit.
So you mentioned that you worked for a much larger company. Did you have something that drove you to maybe move to a smaller business? Was there a driving force behind maybe wanting to work for a smaller company?
Sure. The large company that I had worked for, I actually had joined very early on in the stages when it was a large company, but a small work environment, and it was a lot more hands-on. As we grew, as we went public, as we became a much larger company, and we had the resources for more hiring, your role was diversified where, like I said, you kind of was more specific. This is what you're providing to the team. This is what you're contributing. And you didn't have the scope where you can be in all the areas and all the operational aspects. And that's something that's, always interested me. And it was just time to move on from a company that was really growing fast, getting large, and, kind of also getting lost in the environment of the workplace. I liked where I had the opportunities where we were more hands-on. You knew everybody. You did more day-to-day stuff and not just the top-level kind of planning. So it was just the right timing for me, too, to go to a smaller company where I can do a lot more.
Very cool. Very cool. I myself have recently made a change from a larger company as a sterile processing tech to a smaller company with Censis. So it's nice to know I'm not the only one who felt the need for that kind of a change.
Absolutely. And I tell you, it was the best move for me. It's allowed me to grow further, even though it's a small company, doing so much more than I would have at a company that would have been too large or too, we're a very established company. I know we'll get into that as well. We've been in business over 50 years, so we're not a startup. We're not new. But it's just, it's a smaller boutique type company and not one of these companies where you have tens of thousands of employees.
Yes. Well, welcome to the small company. You've probably been in it longer than me, but that's still very cool.
Yeah, I just 10 years now I've been here. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, congratulations on your decade transition.
Yeah. Thank you.
So speaking of Chem Medical, Let's talk about their products. Can you give us an overview of Chem Medical products, what you guys do, and how people use your products, things like that?
Chem Medical Products offers a complete line of solutions for safe work environments in healthcare facilities, particularly hospitals. But we also have a opening into dental offices, veterinarian clinics, veterinarian hospitals, really any place where healthcare activities are going on. A lot of our products are used for making that environment safer. One of our products is a monitoring badge, our VapoTrack monitoring badge, and that's used throughout healthcare facilities, throughout clinics and dental offices where a lot of the noxious gases are used, whether it's ethylene oxide, hydrogen peroxide, any of the anesthesia gases, nitrous oxide, and we make a monitoring badge that monitors and you know you're able then to send it down to we have a laboratory in Florida that then will do results, provide those results, and make sure that you're OSHA compliant. We also offer neutralizing products, our ChemSafe neutralizing products. A lot of the chemicals are not able to be just simply discarded down a drain. So we make a neutralizing product that renders that solution safe and then therefore can be disposed properly. We also make spill kits because if you're dealing with all these different solutions and chemicals, want to make sure that if an accident does happen, we do have a line of ChemSure spill kits that will properly ensure the safety of that individual as well as anyone else in the area so that the solutions, the spills can be cleaned up properly. And then particularly for where our audience here, we have a line of ChemSure premium sterilization barcode labels and thermal resin ribbons used with tracking solutions and obviously used with the SensaTrack tracking system regularly.
Very cool. So it sounds like you're pretty solidly in the niche of helping healthcare professionals deal with dangerous chemicals.
Yeah, we started, we're heavily focused in sterile processing, but as we realized other areas of the hospital, particularly the operating room, the pathology labs, are also using different types of solutions, different types of chemicals, but the same OSHA regulated needs are there as well. So we kind of branch out into those areas as well, where we can provide our monitoring badges, our spill kits, different services that we provide to the hospitals for those areas as well.
That's great. That is very efficient.
And we small. We have a few of our niche products. We do them well, and with our clientele being mainly the facilities of mainly being hospitals. It's important that they're getting the best products and services for the areas that they're working in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's great that you guys take the safety of healthcare workers so seriously. You might have covered this with your previous question, but what is the main problem or problems that your products solve for sterile processing departments specifically? How do they help these technicians do their jobs better or make their lives easier?
Very simple answer is that we make high quality products that are the correct products for sterile processing. Sterile processing is a very unique area of a hospital. It is normally, as you know, a lot of times in the basement, tucked away, almost kind of forgotten. But it really is the department that has to run properly, has to do everything properly per all their regulations. And, it's driving what allows the hospital to continue doing what they do for their patients. So at the same time, they need products that are not just off the shelf products that can be used in other departments and other areas. These are products that are specifically designed with sterile processing in mind, with the quality and the safety that they need to ensure that not only are they safe, but what they're working on is able to be accomplished properly so that the patients throughout the hospital are also safe.
That's fantastic. Yes, as a former sterile processing technician, I appreciate you throwing everybody the props and stating how important every single person is in that industry. It's frankly, I feel like it's just not said enough. So thank you. Thank you for that.
No, the most important group as far as we're concerned. I mean, they are such an important part to the whole process of the healthcare industry and the hospital particularly.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. So what would you say makes your product stand out from any of your competitors?
So the big product is the barcode label that we provide to use with a SensorTrack system. And barcode labels, I get that question all the time. They're a commodity. They're found everywhere. You can buy them at Staples. You can buy them online. They're readily available. However, in sterile processing, they're used in such a harsh environment in the washers with the different sterilizers, the chemicals, the solutions, the banging of the trays. A regular or even an enhanced label would just not survive in that environment. So we designed labels since we were already in the sterile processing department and we were seeing what was happening. Our labels were designed specifically for sterile processing. We try to really only sell them into sterile processing. There is a cost differential than an off the shelf label. They are a stronger material. They are a polyester, which is a breathable, very strong material. And we've also redone how we have the adhesive on the back to make sure that they stick on better. They're not falling off of peel packs. They're not, clinging to the side of sterilizers. So, it was important for us to really design a label that was specific for sterile processing. So our labels have been, recognizing how important it is in the sterilization department to make sure that nothing prohibits sterilization or alters it. Our labels have been independently tested and verified by outside labs to ensure that they're validated 100% sterilization efficacy for both steam, ethylene oxide, and the hydrogen peroxide sterilizers. So not only did we develop a stronger, better label, we made sure that it is validated for the environment that it's being used in.
That is incredibly important because I'm sure there are many sterile processing folks who will be listening to this, and they've probably encountered the question from inspectors about using the correct ink if they are not using a tracking system and they're still utilizing markers, about using even the correct markers that are approved for sterile processing. So not only do you guys have to make sure that the labels themselves are acceptable, but the ink ribbon that prints out of the machine must also be up to the standards and not in any way, shape, or form potentially compromise what's in that sterilizer.
No, absolutely. It's so important. We get so many phone calls too with, asking for the documentation, which we readily, make available for the different facilities as they need it. Our IFU stated as well. And it's just something that we're seeing is becoming more important in the field of sterilization and this healthcare where they're using them, whether it's in the hospitals, obviously in dental offices. Everybody wants to make sure that the sterilization process is not being prohibited in any way.
Well, that's fantastic that you guys put that much effort and time and research into making sure that your product fits, the standards that all sterile processing departments have to abide by. Because let's be real, there are a lot of people who say that sterile processing has to do a long list of things in the interest of best practices and quality patient safety. So thank you, Chem Medical, for being so diligent.
No, I mean, it's something, like I said, makes us stand apart. Also, it comes of us being in the industry for almost 50 years. We are there in the sterile processing departments. We do a lot of things where, we have personnel within the departments doing services. I've been in the sterile processing departments for years as well. And we recognize what they need and trying to make it as easy as possible for them.
So what would you say are some best practices that sterile processing professionals can keep in mind when using your product?
We get this question a lot because people are like, oh, it's a sticker, it's a label, and yes, it is. But even with this, it's important to follow the IFUs. also have the IFUs available, which we do provide for everyone as well. Our labels are being used in the printers, so we let everyone know that per the manufacturer of the printers, follow their directions for loading the media, which is the labels and the ribbons. But you also want to make sure that you're also applying the label the correct way. A lot of times we get, they'll take it off the roll, stick it on with one finger, and it's not properly put on. And that's where, even with the best labels like ours, where the adhesive is a stronger adhesive, if they're not really placed on the peel packs or the wraps or the trays, they could fall off during the process. So you really want to make sure that you're getting that label in the position you want, and really with the two fingers, just from the middle outside, pressing it and adhering it to the object that you're putting it on. At the same time, it's very important that not only are you using labels like ours, but you want to use the right ribbons as well. And there are various ribbons out there. Our recommendation, and a lot of hospitals also will use the thermal transfer resin ribbon. You want to make sure it's resin. They also have ribbons out there that look identical that are much cheaper, but those are wax ribbons. And as you can imagine, I mean, using a wax ribbon in an environment where there's heat, there's steam, there's solutions, anything you print is just going to run right off and be gone before the process even starts. So it's very important that not only you're using labels like ours, but you're using thermal transfer resin ribbon, and we have a line of those ribbons as well.
Very cool. I actually did not know the difference. I believe where I previously worked, we did not use wax because the ink did stay on. But that's very interesting. Thank you for that.
We get a lot of phone calls saying, "Hey, I have your labels and I printed correctly. It looks great, and one cycle it comes out and it's gone." And my first question is, "What kind of ribbon are you using? If you're using ours, then that there's another issue. But if you're using a wax ribbon, that's your first sign that you need to change to resin."
Wow, that sounds like it happens more frequently than one would assume.
Well, one of the things that we found, particularly as hospitals are getting larger, becoming more of parts of different groups, and hospitals are joining together, a lot of the purchasing is not necessarily done by the end user anymore. So it's not done by someone in sterile processing. It's done by a buyer or someone back and sitting in front of their computer who's buying for particular areas. And a lot of the times, if those people are not understanding the environment of sterile processing, they are sometimes buying a cheaper label or the cheapest ribbon, thinking, wow, I can save money here. In the long run, you're going to spend much more money because you're buying the wrong items versus buying items like ours, which, like I said, do have a premium price over the standard label and ribbon because they are made for a different environment. So we do see that a lot, that we're being asked, how come my ribbons are running, and the first question is, what kind of ribbon?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want high quality in anything, you need to pay for it. That's, I think, standard in the world.
Yeah, no, and two, we explained too, our labels, especially if they're going on trays and different things, they will last longer. They will survive more washes, more processes than a cheaper label that's not made for this environment. So you may pay a little bit more money up front, but that roll of labels is going to last a lot longer than, say, a roll that you got from, a Staples or your regular paper type labels.
So, speaking of your labels, I can see some behind you and they're very eye catching. So, I'm intrigued by all of the colors. Is there a reason that your labels are so colorful?
It really just started. Obviously, we started making the white label first, and then we would get requests for, "Hey, can I get a different color to differentiate? Can I get this color?" And then over the years, we locked it down where we now offer 6 colors as standard stocked items as well. Uh, and really, as printers became smaller and cheaper, it allowed the hospital then to have a dedicated printer to a colored type of label instead of having to switch it every time. And really, the main reason for the labels being different colors and hospitals needing them is a lot of them are now using them to differentiate departments, differentiate different equipment for the different departments, whether it's being labor and delivery, whether it's being other areas of the hospital. Visually on a shelf, it allows them to quickly see which departments are getting which sterilization packs. We've also, seen it where some people just don't like the white. They are better with colors, and some hospitals are strictly buying blue or strictly buying orange, as opposed to just going with a white color. But the biggest use we see is to make sure that they can differentiate. Two, a lot of hospitals, as sterilization departments are, unfortunately, some of them are shrinking or disappearing in smaller hospitals. They're now relying on, say, sister hospitals or local nearby hospitals to sterilize for them. And this is another way for a hospital to differentiate it. This belongs to our hospital down the road, not necessarily the hospital where it's being sterilized in.
That is very intriguing. I know where I previously worked, we would swap out the colors of the load stickers on a 3-year cycle, for just to show, hey, this was sterilized a year ago because it's this color. But that's really intriguing to make the colors specific to departments or specialties, because then there's less chance of mix up when unloading an autoclave. If you've got a set that could go either to a clinic or to the OR, that's a really unique way of utilizing your product.
And too, a lot of these after sterilization, they go into the storage, into the shelves, into the bins, and it's just a quicker, easier way for someone to visualize. Okay, where are they going? Divide them out quickly and get them stacked to the proper inventory locations to prevent losing something or getting something to be misinventoried in an area where it shouldn't be.
Yeah, that has to be a great training tool for new technicians. Also, if they're in even a larger facility with many specialties, and you're training them on case carts or unloading the autoclave, and you can say, look, blue goes here and green goes here. And that's, as long as it's labeled properly, that's fantastic.
We're a very visual, and I think even more so over the last few years, as social media, video and conference. And I know you and I, we even joked around that, video conferencing has changed and evolved so much. So we are a very visual, people, and in an industry like a hospital environment where you want to make sure you're not making a mistake and you're not putting something wrong. Something as simple as a color differential is so easily picked up visually to make sure that you're putting it into the right departments, into the right hospital areas, or even, like I said, going to assist the hospital. So the visualness of the different colors is just an easy, quick way to make sure that you're differentiating the different sterilization equipment, packs, inventory, and where it's going properly.
Yep, exactly. People, especially if you're rushing, say it's a critical emergency, and you need whatever set that's vascular, you know to look for whatever specific color label, which cuts down a lot of your search time. So that's a great use of your product. So you've mentioned before that your product works really wonderfully with the SensiTrack platform. What is Chem Medical's relationship like with Censis?
We've love working with Censis. I mean, they are just a great company, really on the forefront of what they're doing with the instrument tracking systems and the growth into the healthcare hospital industry. We have been working now with Censis, I want to say 6-7 years. We've been going to CTUC. I think back in 2015 was the first one we did. And we just did recently the first one that was back in person after 2 to 3 years, this past September. So We are just basically partnering with Censis where they are able to sell to their customers directly a accessory, a finishing product for their system that sometimes gets overlooked, sometimes is not readily available or even there at startup. So we're providing Census a high quality product from a company that is in the sterilization world so that Census can add to the value that they're providing to their customers directly themselves.
That's awesome. Yes. I mean, Census, our main objective is to support sterile processing. So what better way than to provide a label that is made specifically for the sterile processing industry?
Yeah, no, we feel it's important that, Census can add to their value, enhance the customer experience, and let the customer know what the best practices and availability for the labels and ribbons are by selling our labels and ribbons directly to their customers.
Well, it makes it easier for the customers. They don't have to necessarily search around for something that will work for them. It's presented right to them.
Yeah, it's one-stop shopping. The best value Census can provide from top to bottom, the better it is for their customers.
Second part to that question. So how do your products work with Census's software solutions like SensaTrack?
Well, it's a very simple solution. I mean, SensaTrack at the end of their process is printing the barcode labels to put onto the trays, the packs, the wraps, so that they can then be tracked throughout the process of sterilization from the time they are into the sterilization through the ORs back down. And our piece is as simple as it sounds, is the label that comes from the printer. And our labels are made to work with the Zebra printers, the Sato printers, and the Intimec printers. Those are the three big printers, with the Zebra printer being the mainstay. And our label is strictly, made to fit the different printers, the different sizes, and to ensure that, when SensaTrack is hitting that, enter button, that label that is coming out to go on to the wraps or the packs is our label, which is, like I said, a very high quality label that will stand up to the process of sterile processing, won't run, won't fade, won't bleed, won't get lost in the process as it doesn't fall off the packaging. So we're just providing that little piece at the end to ensure that the SensaTrack and Census, their software, is providing everything from start to finish, which is including the label itself.
Nice. So you are the finishing touch on the Christmas present.
Yeah, we're the bow. We're the bow on top of
You're the bow on the Christmas.
And if you want, you can make it a colorful one. So
exactly. That's fantastic. So you just mentioned attending CTUC, and that's where we met face to face with CTUC in September. Speaking with customers at this event, what were some of the takeaways from the customers at the show?
Well, first off, I mean, like we said a little earlier, it was so nice to be back in person, so nice to be back in Nashville, see everyone from Census, and really have that hands-on feel again. So it definitely getting back to the city, getting back down to Nashville, and then interacting with everyone at Census, and more importantly, all the customers, all the techs, all the managers from sterile processing. I mean, you can't have a better group. They're so happy to be involved. They're so appreciative that we are looking to provide the best products for them, whether it's the software, the services, the different items. And they are just a very appreciative group because they understand, like we had discussed, unfortunately, sometimes they're overlooked. They're, like I said, hidden in the hospital. But certainly Census, certainly Chem Medical, and all the vendors that were at the show really fully understand the importance of the employees in sterile processing and what they do for a facility, for a hospital. So it's just really good just interacting with them, seeing how they are looking at the different items, how they are reacting to all the vendors that were at the show, and really just listening to them to see if there's anything that we're missing, anything that can be improved upon, anything that they like that they don't like. They're always drawn first to our tables because of all the colors, and they like, it makes them happy, I think, seeing all the different colors, and same questions, why do we have the different colors? So it's really just giving them an opportunity to talk to us, to ask us questions, but also to let them, let us know, hey, what can we do better? What's missing? What are we overlooking?
Yep, exactly. That's the best thing you can do is talk to the people who use your product. They will be completely honest with you, good, bad, indifferent, or ugly.
And you know what? Every feedback is good. So it's important to, like you said, have the good, the bad, the ugly, or just even, hey, we're all good, because, we take the customer feedback very seriously, and we want to make sure we're providing to them exactly what they need, and we're not missing anything.
Well, did you gain any learnings from CTUC attendees to take back to your R&D department? Do they have any new and sparkly ideas for you guys?
We get a lot of questions about, do we provide more colors? And right now we're providing our white label. Then we have a blue, a purple, a yellow, a green, an orange, uh, and we get a lot of questions, are there any other colors? And at this time, these are our main colors, with the white and the six colors. After we've done a lot of research of which colors are best for running through the sterilization process, which colors are best when you have to scan for barcodes. We get a lot of questions sometimes, can we do a red label? Red is a very difficult label because it's like using, piece of red clothing in a laundry. Those would be the most likely to run. Like I said, we work very hard to ensure that our colors are colorized so that they don't run. But red is dark, and it would be it would be more difficult to scan. The contrast would be different. So we do get a lot of input on the colors. We explain to them exactly why we have our colors, and it seems to educate them as well. But just the feedback is, just very, very good feedback. Very happy to see the different colors. A lot of them are asking what is the best practice to incorporate colors into the hospital as well. So
Very cool. Yeah, that makes sense. As you were talking, it struck the light bulb in my head too. I'm like, that's right. Yeah, red would probably be difficult to scan,
yeah.
which, that's the whole point. The whole point of using the scanning system is scanning.
Yeah, if the contrast is not good, I mean, we've had darker blues or darker purples in the past, but we've settled on the hues that we have, and the level of darkness or lightness of the specific colors, because they work best with the scanning process.
Again, a testament to the effort and the research and the dedication that Chem Medical puts into their product. All right, Mark. So we are working on closing down, but I have a few more questions for you. What would you say to hospitals who are looking to start using your products? Where would they start?
Oh, luckily, because of the partnership we have with Census, we tell all the customers the easiest and best place to start with is directly with Census and their account rep. Like I had previously said, Census sells all our labels and ribbons to their customers. They are Chem Medical, ChemSure labels and ribbons. So it really starts with the customer having a conversation from the start as they're being set up with their account manager. The account manager could walk them through exactly the sizes, the colors, everything that we offer, that Census can provide to them. And if you're an already existing Census customer, same thing. Go to your account rep, talk to them during your review. We make it very simple, one-stop shopping. Everything can go right through Census. So it's really starting with the account rep or the Census order desk to get more information.
That's fantastic that it is so easy for potential customers to get a hold of your product. That's great. So, Mark, if people wanted to reach out to discuss Chem Medical products or anything that the company can help them with, where can they find you?
Best way to reach out to me is, my email address. It's a very simple email address. It's Mark, MARK, at chemmed, KEMMED.com. Send me an email asking any questions, or even if you want to set up a time to talk. And definitely will always make myself available.
I have no more questions for you right now. Is there anything you want to add for our audience before we close out?
Like I said, we make it very easy. Our labels and ribbons are right through ConCensis. They can sell everything that we offer directly to their customers. So a lot of our marketing or advertising, everything that we do, our tagline that we like to promote is Census approved. Be sure with ChemSure.
Well, Mark, thank you again for taking the time to talk about chem medical and the sterile processing industry. For those of you listening, thank you for joining us for another episode of ConCensis Podcast. If you want to hear more from Censis, you can go to censis.com, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts and hit subscribe. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.